Salute Knicks Nation. The streets are buzzing. Welcome in to another live stream as we react to day 2 of NBA free agency and the New York Knicks strike again. 2 for 2, ladies and gentlemen. Let's grade these moves. Give us your thoughts as the Knicks welcome in rugged power forward, big man, Yabusele, coming out of Philly from France, and the New York Knicks have pounced on the big man to add depth to the front court, some scoring punch. You already know what it is, guys. The streets are buzzing. Welcome into chat. Welcome in, Knicks Nation. Lots to chop up around the league as NBA free agency is popping right now. It's buzzing. And the New York Knicks, man, have snapped up 2 solid veterans. I'm going to give you my overall grade tonight. We're going to look at some data, their stats, what are they going to bring to the squad, and of course, how they're going to fit. Versatility comes to mind when I'm thinking about this. Lineups, and the New York Knicks can, focus more on the offensive side and stretch scoring, shooting. Today, Yabusele has agreed to the New York Knicks deal, 2 years, $12 million for the full taxpayer mid-level, maybe slightly less to fit under the second apron. We'll talk about all the cap machinations and, how the Knicks can fill out the rest of the squad. Who are they going to fill the rest of the squad out with? But so much to look forward to as Yabusele went viral in the Paris Olympics for jamming on LeBron James, and he's going to bring that toughness, feistiness, and some rugged play to the New York Knicks squad, and I'm excited. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the chat. I see you. Johnny, Susan, Malik, what's good? Buzzer beater, Mickey, hopefully you're still with us. Susan, Darren, David's in the house. As always, the diehards, KNYT. Great to see everyone. Dermot, what's good? So yeah, let's take a look at the 2 signings, man, and the latest data. We'll look at the depth chart as well and some highlights. But look, overall, I think for the resources that the Knicks had, right, you always got to preface by, looking at what was available. The Knicks haven't done a trade. The Knicks have not pulled off any major trades. So they had the taxpayer mid-level. They had veterans minimums. To get Jordan Clarkson on a buyout, and we're going to look at some good lineup data and what he brings. And also to get your Yabusele, a player that was needed. I think Precious Achua looks like he's not going to come back. And I think Mitch stays, Dermot. I see Dermot in the chat. Salute, ask, what does this mean about Mitchell Robinson? I think Mitch is here for the long haul. They saw how valuable Mitch was in the postseason. But basically, Yabusele can play mostly power forward, but he can play some small ball 5 as well. Some small ball 5. And so the Knicks can round out their roster with 14 players. Landry Shamet is still a free agent. We'll wait to see. But they can squeeze him in along with a second-round draft pick exception. I've chosen Kevin McCullough because I think he's the more ready-made, more experienced guy. But anybody's guess right now. So the Knicks have 2 more spots to fill. I've gone ahead and given 1 veteran minimum spot to Landry Shamet and 1 second-round rookie guy to Kevin McCullough, fam. It could go to James Nagy. It could go to Mohamed Diawara. Or it could go to Dink Pate, although quite unlikely. If one of these guys balls out in Summer League, they might get that opportunity. But right now, I think Kevin McCullough could be in the box seat. It's got to be a guy that was drafted in the second round. Hasn't been on a regular contract yet. And that's going to be at $1.2 million. And then we still have 1 more veteran minimum to fill. I would love to bring Landry Shamet back. But we'll continue talking about that tonight. The chat's popping right now. Smash that like button. I got some shooting percentage data for all y'all, man. We bring the heat. here right now. You guys are bringing the heat in the chat. Look at the three-point shooting, man. Let's start with the first graphic, the first graph at the top, and that is the newest signing from today, Gershon Yabusele. He's a stretch four, a true stretch four that can shoot it, man, above the break. 35% from directly above the key, 43% above the break on the left corner elbow. Man, 47% from the right corner elbow as well, 36% from the right corner, 34% from downtown on the left corner as well, and 64% near the restricted area, fam. So we're getting a steal, I think, for 5.7 million. As I'm going to bring up some lineup data, right? We all know how bad Philadelphia played last season, man. They didn't even make the playoffs. They didn't even make the play-in, fam. Some four-man lineup data from our newest Nick, Gershon Yabusele, was highest, among the highest in games played. You see the first column, games played. He played with Paul George, Kelly Oubre, Yabusele, and Tyrese Maxey. 27 games, that four-man lineup played together for 11 minutes, 12 minutes per game. That had a positive net rating of plus 1.5, man, for an awful team. So Yabusele in the first, the largest four-man lineup games played, the second four-man most played lineup, also in the third most lineup played with four men, and you goes further down, man, the top five. So yeah, versatility. He got played a lot in these four-man lineups, and one, two, three out of the five were in the positive plus minus on the far right column. So effective. And then we look at the second graph down below. These are a three-man lineup. 42 games played, the most games played with Kelly Oubre, Yabusele, Tyrese Maxey. Some nice mixing and matching. And some positive plus minus data as well. So Gershon Yabusele can space it, can shoot it. Obviously, he can defend at a not a great level. Look, Precious Achiuwa had ups and downs and moments, and I think this is just a true upgrade. You look at the shooting, guys. It's a bona fide upgrade. As I'm going to pull up some highlights now, and we look at what Gershon Yabusele brings to the table. I like his dribble drive. He can definitely close out under more control than a Precious Achiuwa. Finishes above the rim, and definitely likes to take physical contact. We're talking about guys like Mikal Bridges that don't like a lot of contact finishing at the basket. Yabusele loves to finish at the rim. Obviously, that heavy slam against LBJ right now. So I'm loving what I'm seeing from Gershon Yabusele with Philadelphia. They couldn't bring him back. He was choosing between the Denver Nuggets and the New York Knicks, and he chose the New York Knicks. Obviously, we now got the official French connection with Bacome Dardier and also, Mohamed Diawara. So 3 French guys right now. And I'm going to grade the moves overall as an A-, what these guys bring, man. We're going to talk about Jordan Clarkson in a minute. Let's see what the chat's saying right now. Malik says, in Leon we trust. Just got to be patient when he's working. Clarkson and Yabo, excellent additions for this team. Johnny says, yeah, man, flying the French flag. As Dermot asked, does this mean Mitch stays? I think for now, I don't see any major trade coming down the pipe, fam. And yes, I see y'all with some latest news. Duncan Robinson headed to Detroit. Right, we're going to talk about all the moves tonight. Buzzerbeat is asking, CT, is Cam gone now that Clarkson is here? 100%, man. Been talking about that for a while. Cam's gone. Cam Payne is gone. Cam Payne is a free agent now, and he's on the market. David says Giannis is unhappy losing Dame. Yeah, we'll talk about that. So we are below the second apron, which is good. So we can fit all of these things under the second apron, Buzzer. We simply become hard capped at the second apron, under the second apron. So that just means we can't go over now for the rest of the season, and we are slightly under now. And it's going to be tricky filling out the rest of the roster. Like I said, we can't add, some more experienced veterans. We could fit a Landry Shamet and a second-round draft pick guy. Let us know who you think would be best suited for that role. I think Landry and Kevin McCullough personally. Great pickup, says Dermot. Juan V says, I like the signing so far. Yep. I think for what we had, I think look, we've obviously gone more offensive-minded, and I'm okay with that because we've drafted some defensive wings. Pacome Dardier and Kevin McCullough, in my opinion, and Landry, if he comes back, they can be value guys defensively. Kevin McCullough is an outstanding defender, and we're obviously got to see if he can get some chance. But, he comes with that, that on his resume, an outstanding perimeter defender at Kansas. Also, Pacome Dardier showed flashes defensively too. Got to put the ball in the basket, man. You got to outscore the opponent to win the ball game, fam. So that's where we're at, man. Working out big time, Gershon Yabusele. Look at, he's a physical specimen. And I like the fact that he can handle the rock at the power forward position. Susan says Knicks speak French now for real. International connection. Drew Review says let Leon cook. So the Indiana Pacers, Buzzer, we're going to get to all those moves. And Miles Turner headed to Milwaukee. Biggest shocking move, man. I woke up to that news and I was like, what happened? But now I start to understand a bit more about, Halliburton being out for another year and the tax. I mean, why pay the tax when they're not really going to be a contender next season? So they take a step back to maybe take 2 steps forward in the future. That's what the Pacer fans are trying to sell it to me as, Buzzer. Miles Turner, cheap ownership. They didn't want to pay. Some of y'all need to be more grateful as well about the Knicks paying their guys. James Dolan never skimped out of paying guys, man. Imagine being an Indiana Pacer fan and you just went to the finals and you let a asset walk, without paying. I like what the Nuggets are doing too. Obviously, I think the Knicks in our own class, but I think the Rockets, the Atlanta Hawks, and the Denver Nuggets, man, are the 4 teams that are doing great in free agency, man. I think Detroit are trying to recover. They've obviously lost Malik Beasley to the gambling investigation right now. They're trying to recover to get, a Duncan. But, they've lost Dennis Schroeder. They've lost Timmy Hardaway, headed out to the Rockies, man. Cam Johnson, Bruce Brown, Jonas Valanciunas, and former Knick Tim Hardaway Jr., man, with that situation. So we're going to get to the coaching news. Monster stream tonight, man. Marathon stream loading tonight, guys. But now we're going to talk about the pickup yesterday, man. JC, Jordan Clarkson. Let's talk about, his data now. 39% from above the break, from 3, 33% on the left elbow, 47% left corner, 41% on the right corner, man. Jordan Clarkson bringing some shooting, but upon chopping up the film, Jordan Clarkson does bring drives into the paint and distributing. as well. So I do think he's going to obviously take up the campaign minutes, as Buzzer was asking earlier. Tyler Kolek is more of a facilitator, but Jordan Clarkson can do a bit of both. So with these lineups on screen, I think the depth chart is going to be Brunson, Deuce McBride, Jordan Clarkson, manning the ball handling, point guard situations. We'll probably see a lot of Deuce McBride together with Jordan Clarkson, maybe a little bit of Deuce more with Brunson, and obviously maybe a little bit of Jordan Clarkson and Brunson, although defensively is gonna be an issue. But I like that closing some games out. I mean, those guys are going to be a bucket. More pressure relieved of our guys. The thing that I like the most, guys, about the two pickups, they are genuine heavy rotation players. They're going to take a lot of the usage and the burn off some of the other guys like Brunson, Hart. Precious didn't play much. Yabusele is going to play 20 plus minutes. As we look at the lineup data, he was among the top 5 lineups played, 4-man lineups played with Philadelphia. He's going to play. He's going to play a lot, and that is going to take the load off of Mikal, OG, and Karl Anthony Towns and Mitch. So, yeah, the word that comes out of my mind right now is versatility. We'll see how it plays out on the defensive side. I see building blocks talk about both of the guys are not good defenders. That's the case, definitely. But we're tapping into a more of an offensive identity now. Thibodeau was trying to, squeeze the remnants of his philosophies defensively out of a roster that wasn't as strong defensively. You lost Hartenstein, you lost Julius Randle's ruggedness, and you lost DiVincenzo, and you brought in Karl Anthony Towns. Thibodeau just didn't fully tap in to the 5-out lineups and the offensive potential. Offensive potential is what I'm looking at right now, guys. And let's flick over now to our first pickup, Jordan Clarkson, man. You see the highlights on screen. Experience, 33 years old, and has been on a losing team for a minute, but had a lot of success with Utah during their great run. So we're looking at some 3-man lineups, not from last season, from the season prior. The reason that is because Jordan Clarkson only played 37 games last season. So, we weren't getting a great sample in terms of lineup data. So I've gone back to look at the 23-24 season where Jordan Clarkson was more active and more healthy. And he features in 3 of the most used 3-man lineups with Lauri Markkanen. Actually, no, these are 4-man. Apologies. 3 of the highest 4-man lineups with Clarkson, Markkanen, John Collins, and Keontae. The first one up, almost 9 minutes a game, played 32 games together. That was almost a neutral, plus minus. The second most, 32 games played, 6 minutes per game, with Markkanen, John Collins, and Sexton together, was a plus in the plus minus, 0.3 in the plus. And the third most used lineup, 4-man, was with Walker Kessler, Keontae George, and Lauri Markkanen for 5.3 minutes a game for 31 games. That was a plus 0.8. So we're talking about a losing team. Some of these lineups are in the plus, the most used lineups as well. So Jordan Clarkson, heavy usage, and I'm pleasantly surprised a little bit by that, and it's a case of it's got me more optimistic. The versatility that we can deploy with these guys and the different lineup data, right? Susan's talking about the coach is going to be Micah Norrie. I see you being optimistic. But I think it's going to be Mike Brown. We're hearing all of the noise that it is going to be Mike Brown. So we'll talk about that in a second. Yuri Ark, what's good? Great to see you in the building. So are we going to run it back? Pretty much in terms of the core, I feel, because we can fit everyone now under the second apron. And I think we got two legitimate pickups that, maybe we weren't expecting were going to be there. I mean, let's face it. Yabusele had a pretty robust free agent market. He could have gone to the Denver Nuggets, but decided to take our $5.7 million exception. As we got some breaking news come through on Malik Beasley, man. His situation's going from bad to worse right now. Let me bring that up. Yeah, I'm feeling good about running it back because, you add two serious pieces that are going to be able to play 20 plus minutes. And, in terms of a trade, the market for some of these guys, it's more value to me to bring them back. I think familiarity, chemistry is going to be key. Raymond, what's good? And Russell in the chat. Lou Boogie, what's up? Rate the off-season so far. Free agency day 2. I think it's going to die down now, guys. I think for the Knicks perspective, I think we made 2 of the biggest moves that we were going to make. Now we wait to see how we fill the final 2 spots. We might look at a smaller trade, maybe to move one of the rookies on just to see if we can get someone more experienced. But all the word is that they're going to, speak to the new head coach about prioritizing development, talking about Tyler Kolek, Dardier, McCullough, or Hakporti. 2 of those 4 guys, to me, has to be in the rotation or has to get a chance. But things are a little more crowded. I think the guaranteed 9-man rotation is the 9 guys you see at the bottom. Right, those 9 guys, they're going to be in the rotation. So then what happens? Do you go to a 10-man? Do you go to an 11-man? I think Landry, bring him back. Excellent insurance, can play make a little bit, shoot off the dribble. And you give it to McCullough, man. So I was checking out some more film, looking at McCullough's close to the season last year, looking at some Kansas footage as well. And it just reminded me how solid of a defender Kevin McCullough is. I think you can throw him out there today and he can be a plus defender in the NBA. He's 24 years old now. He was a super senior at Kansas, played 5 seasons. Had last year as well, working his way back from the injury, a long-term, rehabilitation. So let's take a little look around the league, continue to shout you guys out and keep buzzing, man. But the Knicks, well ahead of Detroit right now, man. Malik Beasley has been sued by a sports agency he employed for alleged breach of contract. The lawsuit was filed with Hazan Sports Management Group, per the lawsuit obtained by Michigan Live and ESPN. Beasley has failed to repay Hazan Sports in full a cash advance of 650 bangs. The lawsuit seeks $2.25 million in damages right now. So things go from bad to worse in regards to Detroit, but they've tried to salvage some situation now by getting Duncan Robinson, man, defensive liability, but is going to bring the lights out shooting that Malik Beasley brought to the Detroit Pistons. Detroit traded Simon Fontecchio to the Heat, and the Heat get an asset out of a free agent, Duncan Robinson, bringing in some Simon Fontecchio. So it's basically just shuffling the deck chairs with that situation. We'll talk about what's up with the Bucks next, guys. Breaking news: the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis Antetokounmpo is disillusioned with the situation. I mean, they did great to get Miles Turner, but you got to waive and stretch Damian Lillard. That's a sad story, but by reports, Damian Lillard is actually happy. He can go back to his family, be on the West Coast, rehabilitate from the Achilles injury. Obviously had the blood clots as well. Prayers up to Damian Lillard. Hopefully he can, continue his career at a higher level. But in terms of the Bucks, Susan says Giannis might be out with the February deadline. I think things are really starting to brew now with Giannis, Milwaukee. I mean, great pickup to get Miles Turner. They brought back Bobby Portis. Their starting point guard right now is Ryan Rollins. So they got work to do right now. They lose Pat Connaughton. They lost Pat Connaughton as well. So that's crazy. Stanley says McCullough, definitely a guy to watch. Be interesting to see how he does in the summer league. Yep. He's a grown man. He's a great defender, and he's ready. He's ready to play, in my opinion. And he's going to be one of those wings that can come in and eat some minutes. Lou said McCullough can defend, so he stays. Goodbye, DeLon Wright. Yep. I think it's a squeeze between, DeLon Wright and Landry. You can only afford one veteran now, and you can obviously add 1 second-round draft pick. And I think it's got to be McCullough, right? Now, I was also watching some Muhammad Diawara film, right? And I got to shout out this channel, man, because this channel has uploaded on YouTube, has uploaded an entire video. It's dedicated to draft footage and film, but he's uploaded a 2.5-hour video of all of Muhammad Diawara's film from his games in Europe. And no, you don't have to sit there watching the whole game. He's literally chopped up every play that Muhammad Diawara is in, and it's a 2.5-hour video. So I feel like I know a lot more about Muhammad Diawara, about that. And I'm gonna shout out this channel to. I've asked him to try to get some Dink Pate film. However, he can't get access to the G League, unfortunately, man. So I'm gonna shout this guy out because he deserves a huge shout out. I'm only 20. I'm only basically 20 minutes through the the whole film right now. I'm gonna bring this bad boy up, fam. Yeah, as I show you here, man. Hardwood Hoops Centrals, NBA Draft Green Room. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Go check it out, man. For y'all that just want to, see the latest, to see what Muhammad Diawara can bring, I'll drop the link in the chat right now as well. But, I mean, you never get this, man. As you see, I'm 26 minutes into a 2.5-hour video, and it's basically possession by possession with Muhammad Diawara. Whether he, finishes the play, has a defensive sequence, a nice assist, a finish at the basket, all of his 3-point shots. Just crazy. Almost 3 hours of the film. So it looks like he's building his channel up. And he needs more views as well. But definitely learning a lot more about Muhammad Diawara. And I feel like he's going to factor in at some point. Now, get him on the two-way. And get him on the two-way and let him cook. Let him cook. He's just turned 20 in March. So Muhammad Diawara from 19 to 20 earlier this season. But he looks like our Siakam. Looks like a guy that can be really, really effective defensively. Good hustle guy too. Finishes at the basket. So yeah, we're going to talk about Milwaukee, the coaching search coming up. Richard at the Knicks Time says, heard Westbrook is choosing between Knicks and Kings right now. I think that was more yesterday, but the latest I've heard is that in regards to Russ, I think minutes are going to dry up with us, and I think he's got to stay out west. I think between Clarkson, Deuce McBride, Brunson, and Kolek, I don't see where Russ is going to get the 20 to 25 minutes that he craves, you know. So I think I'm cool on Russ right now. I think Clarkson's that guy who can play make as well, and obviously handle the offense. I think basically, Jordan Clarkson's going to be a huge upgrade over Campaign and DeLon Wright, in terms of creating a shot. So as I said earlier, Tim Hardaway headed over to the Denver Nuggets. I think they've done really well out of their situation. So yeah, buzzer beater to confirm once again. We have 2 spots left to fill. We can only sign 1 veteran on the lowest veteran minimum contract, but it can't be the 10-year guy. It can only be one of those guys that's sort of 7 years of service and a second round draft pick. That's all we have left to fill. Yep. So yeah, confirming a vet spot and a second round pick. That's all that we have left. But I'm okay with that because Yabusele and Clarkson exactly what we needed, and we filled those needs with the limited resources we had. And I think Kevin McCullough deserves a roster spot. He could legitimately supplant Pacome Dadier. At 6'6", has a real knack for stealing the ball, getting into passing lanes, can finish in traffic as well. So Tyus Jones is already off the board. He is with the Orlando Magic. Now, Tyus Jones with the Orlando Magic. So yeah, I'm not looking at point guards anymore, guys. We're not bringing in 5 point guards. We've got Brunson, Deuce, Jordan Clarkson, and we've got Tyler Kolek. Now, if we move Kolek on, then it'll be because we're looking at another veteran. But right now we're crowded in the backcourt. I would bring in another sharpshooter. Maybe even if we don't go Landry, I would look at a Seth Curry. Maybe look at a Seth Curry just as a straight knockdown guy, catch and shoot, in the corner, and an ability to just play more 5-out looks. Chris Connors, Michael Drake, good to see you. AP. Lou Boogie says maybe Najee could be that last spot. Yeah, facts. Yep, I think out of Najee or McCullough, I think it's got to be a guy that's going to be more impactful defensively. Because look at, I'll get to Simon comment in a second. Look at our newer signings. They're more offensive guys. So we need to balance it out. Fam. Look, Landry can play solid defense. So you got to either bring him back or you got to bring DeLon Wright back. Or, like Lou Boogie says, Najee, McCullough. Got to get one of the final spots. Now, what we will be able to do again, guys, we can only reach 14 guys now under the second apron. But as the season goes, we might be able to do what we did last year, which is wait for the year to go, elapse, and the prorated salary to go down and add a 15th guy. But right now, we're not going to be able to add a 15th guy unless we make a consolidation trade. 14 is okay. 14 is the minimum requirement, but we're not going to be able to add the 15th guy right now because we're so pressed up against the second apron. But we are able to fit underneath and add 14 guys. Now Simon says K Mac Jr. should start over Hart because he'd be the stronger with the stronger team that he can help his rookie mistakes with the veterans around him, and Josh could make the bench better as well. So I do think Hart will most likely come off the bench, Simon. But I do think it's probably going to be at the expense of Deuce. I can't see a Kevin McCullough start just yet. Maybe, if he shows that what he's capable of, I think Summer League is going to be big. Yes, Stanley, I like the moves Magic made. I think Magic, the Hawks, Obviously, the Denver Nuggets, and I think our moves have got to be right up there, fam. Um, Optimus, what's good? Juan says, what about Marjon Beauchamp? Is he any good? So with Beauchamp, I don't think he can qualify for a two-way. So I think it's either give Marjon Beauchamp the final veteran spot, or it's Landry or Delon Wright or someone else. And I think we've got enough. We've got enough projects. Marjon Beauchamp is still a project. We already have a Kevin McCullough kind of guy. We can fit him under the second draft pick exception. I would just do that. I haven't seen enough in Marjon Beauchamp, to throw him ahead of Kevin McCullough, because you're just stymieing the growth of Dardier and McCullough. We're trying to contend now, and we will contend. Best believe that. There's only so many young guys you can carry if you're trying to contend. Right now, we're at that limit. We've got Hukporti, Dardier, McCullough, Tyler Kolek, 3 young two-way guys, Najee, Dink Pate, Muhammad Diawara. Some of y'all still want to add a couple of raw players to that, man. That's not going to happen. We're trying to contend now. We've got enough young guys. Give us a veteran name. Give us a veteran name that you might want to add over Landry Shamet. But as for Beauchamp and that, there's just too many guys that don't shoot. Too young right now. So Beauchamp's too old to qualify for the two-way now. He's been in the league 4 seasons now, and I think he's something like 23, 24 years old. So the two-way contract has a time limit. And also, I'm not going to put him ahead of the guys we picked up. The guys we drafted. JM3 salute. AC, what's good? Is Yabusele any good? He's very good. He can shoot it. Was in demand, and he's a guy that's going to be able to play next to Cat, next to Mitch. He's going to be able to fit, obviously, next to OG. There could be lineups now where OG can go back to the 3. You could play OG, Yabusele, and Mitch. You could go OG, Yabusele, and Cat with 2 other shooters and play 5 shooters, fam. With that look. One of my guys is off the board now. Mamu Kalishvili is headed to the Raptors. Jericho Sims, shout out, getting a 2-year deal with the Milwaukee Bucks. Dennis Schroeder, a 3-year, $45 million deal to go to the Sacramento Kings. Milwaukee Bucks lose Pat Connaughton right now. Gary Harris picked up a deal to go to Milwaukee. So they're trying to salvage their offseason. So the Kings and the Nuggets making a deal. Jonas Valanciunas headed out there to back up the Joker. But the biggest shock of the free agency so far, man, is Miles Turner. Did not see that happen right now. Miles Turner headed to the Milwaukee Bucks, right? Indiana getting cheap, not able to pay the tax. The owner, they're obviously not going to compete with Tyrese out for the season, and so Milwaukee can pounce and get that protector, get another rim protector. I think him and Giannis defensively are going to be, they're going to be stout, but they need to address the Damian Lillard situation. They need to fill that point guard spot right now, fam. Al Horford's still on the board, fam, but we can't afford him. We've already used the exception now. We are scraping by, keeping under the second apron, and Al Horford will end up probably going to Golden State. Fam, I'm going to continue to refresh as I keep y'all buzzing. Y'all keep me buzzing. Let's go. New York Knicks go. I give the off-season grade an A- right now, because I think it was very opportunistic. Jordan Clarkson, a buyout, doesn't happen every day, man. So I feel very fortunate. Yeah, he has flaws in his game, man. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that, it's It's a home run. I'm not going to tell you that he's an all-star, but he's exactly what the roster needed. You know, a guy that can facilitate a little bit more than Cam Payne did, a guy that shoots the three ball better, a guy that's got more moxie, more physicality as well. So I'm happy. I'm happy with the roster right now, guys. I'm not looking for Al Horford. I'm not looking for, you know, any of the other big names at the moment. We can't fit them right now, and I don't see a trade coming on. So Damian Lillard got waived, right? Let's talk about the head coaching situation, as I think the Detroit Pistons have been probably the loser out of the East. Milwaukee, but obviously Detroit. I mean, going from, giving the Knicks a hard-fought series, they lose Hardaway, they lose Schroeder, they lose Malik Beasley now. They've got Duncan Robinson. Are they going to try to get Malik Monk? I heard that was out there as well, but I don't see that, able to play out right now. So the coaching situation, guys, is that Mike Brown is the leader in the clubhouse. And also Mark Stein, shout out, has been all over it. He's saying that the Knicks have been telling prospective free agents that they are nearing a resolution to the head coach. So happy to hear that. Good news. The Knicks are going to lock in a head coach this week. What is it? Happy Tuesday night to everyone in the building. Smash that like button. The Knicks have got 2 acquisitions now in free agency and are going to lock in their head coach this week. And Mark Stein also reported that the Knicks' interest in hiring Mike Brown as the new head coach has intensified. So, yeah, I think the writing is on the wall. Steve Popper's still reporting, though, that there's going to be some more second-round interviews for Taylor Jenkins, possibly Micah Norrie. But I think the writing's on the wall unless something crazy changes. What do y'all think? I don't think Beasley's banned at the moment. It's just he's a free agent. And who's going to give him guaranteed money, man? He might be in prison. He might not. It's allegations. Again, I stress just allegations, but no one's going to give him guaranteed money right now until we find out. So he's in limbo. He lost the bag. He dropped the bag. But speaking of the New York Knicks, it looks like we're winding up this coaching search. I told you I'll be okay with Taylor Jenkins. He was my slight preference, but I'm okay. I'm okay with Mike Brown. I'm not flipping out like some. I understand with any coach, there's always going to be a fan base that's gonna, not gonna like something about their head coach. There are things that Heat fans don't like about Eric Spoelstra. There is Golden State fans that want Steve Kerr out. So, you're never going to get, full approval. With Mike Brown, I feel like, with Thibodeau, as long as he is going to play an extended rotation and be more organized late game execution, but we be willing to tap in to the 5-out lineups offensively, creatively, and extract the best, with the squad. But most importantly, guys, be on the same page as the front office. That's a whole upgrade for me. Thibodeau wasn't willing to collaborate with the front office and be more, malleable. So as long as Mike Brown, we're going to see his X's and O's, and, he's good with veterans. And I think it's probably the closest thing to Thibodeau bringing the experience and the hard-nosed experience with veterans to the squad, but without being as stubborn as Thibodeau. Without being as stubborn. And look, Thibodeau's X's and O's offensively weren't great either. Now, Thibodeau could be the better coach defensively, but we'll see what Mike Brown does. I think if he's more flexible going zone, he's more flexible, trapping, full court press, blitzing, just being more adaptable. is an upgrade for me. Uh, I think that's an upgrade for me if, Mike Brown is able to, to get the best out of this current squad. And man, what a squad it is. I think this is favorite to come out of the East. Cleveland, had an okay offseason so far, but I think the Knicks, Cleveland, got to be 1-2. Then I think it's probably got to be the Hawks and the Magic. What do y'all think, man? I see Lou Boogie says Pistons, Bucks, Celtics, Pacers got worse, while the Hawks, Magic improved. Yeah, I would agree. I think Pacers are still going to be okay. Celtics still okay because they've got some great veterans. I think the Bucks, Pistons, and Bucks, Pistons definitely got a lot worse. The Hawks and Magic got significantly better. So I think the Hawks had a better offseason than the Magic so far. Yeah, Buzzer, great question. Like JM3 says, man, greed. I think it's too tempting. You got apps now on your phone. You got inside information. Also, it's just with these prop bets, Buzzer, you could definitely affect the outcome of a game individually. It's different in other sports like football, NFL, soccer as well. It's such a bigger team sport. You can't directly, give up points. In basketball, you can directly miss a shot. You can directly throw the ball out of bounds or fumble, like Malik Beasley did, man. He didn't want to get that 3 up maybe against the Knicks. He can just fumble it out of bounds. Also, you can just foul a dude and get fouled out. Let's say your over-unders, is to score, 9 points in your bench roll. Yeah, what's the best way to avoid that without having to pass up shots? Foul out. Foul out. Or do something crazy like that. It's too tempting now. He won't be the first guy. Well, he ain't the first guy. He won't be the last guy. A lot of guys are going to be more investigated, fam. Referees as well. I see you. Referees got problems as well, fam. They can affect the game big time with referees. So yeah, I'm hyped for the moves. I'm hyped for the young fellas that are about to take a step up. No Russell Westbrook. No Al Horford. It's time to elevate some of the young guys on the roster right now. Clarkson, most used 4-man lineups. 3 of the most used 4-man lineups with Utah Jazz at a good net rating with Larry Markkinen, John Collins, Keontae George. One of them with Sexton. So I think we're going to get a lot of versatility out of these guys, man. You see Josh Hart, he's hyped. You see Deuce McBride looking, dejected late in that Indiana game with Tom Thibodeau. I think these guys are going to be buoyed by the upgrades being made. No Precious, no Campaign. I think some of the rookies are ready to step up. Otherwise, we've got to ship them out if they're not ready yet. We're contending. We'll see what we can do as the off-season and season progresses. Leon Rose got us right up against the second apron. I was a little bit more mixed on the Yabusele pickup. But now that I'm doing more background and research, guys, I think he could be the more impactful out of the two, out of Clarkson and Yabusele. Because for this reason, I think the front court last year we weren't tapping into the shooting, the 5-out lineups enough. And now adding another big man that can shoot, it's going to be near on impossible for any coach to not play him with Cat and OG, at least 2 of those guys together, And so with the shooting element, I mean, Yabusele, he could play 4, he could play the 5. And if you want to cover up some of his defensive deficiencies, you got Mitchell Robinson. You got Ariel now. You got James Nagy, who's a drop center who could protect the paint. as well, fam. Yeah, I see Terry Rozier beat some allegations as well. Um, Russell, I like Precious. Uh, yeah, I think Precious had some moments. I feel like Precious deserves an opportunity elsewhere. I think to get some minutes, but it's tough. I think the jump shot needs to come along. You need to be more of an offensive threat. I think in the modern game now, fam. Otherwise, you see how they were guarding guys, man. They just stand off of y'all. You know, if you're out on the floor and you can't space it, it makes life more difficult. For your teammates. Uh, Entry salute says we really need another five. Reports we had interest in Nick Richards. Who's on a $5 million deal. We might be interested in making a trade work, but I think James Nagy is the insurance that they brought over now. He's experienced, so we'll see what plays out. With the 2 spots remaining, we do have the 2 spots remaining, fam. It has to be 1 rookie from the second round and 1 veteran. We can't afford anything more than that. We can't afford 2 veterans. So it's got to be Najee or McCullough or Diawara and a veteran. Let us know who you think. David says, Susan, how about Brunson playing ISO with no D? I think that's his DNA. Brunson tries hard. He's just not a good defender. I mean, I don't get on Brunson for not trying hard. He's just defensively limited. The same way Evan Fournier was. The same way, Amari Stoudemire was. The same way Trae Young is. You've got to mold the roster around, certain weaknesses. But Brunson does take those charges. He puts his body on the line. But yeah, these guys need to be held accountable. Definitely under the new head coach. I think Mike Brown can do that. Margaret says, of course, Mike Brown. Having Wes as a friend helps. Brown did not have Wesley, aka friend. He definitely would not have got an interview. Possibly, I think. Yeah, Wesley is a huge voice in the locker in the front office. One of the highest ranking executives. But like I said to y'all, my feeling is why Mike Brown is in line to get the job. He's one of the safest options. They don't want to go out and hire something that's too much of a risk. Their necks are on the line, man. Best believe that. This is the end game level. Now you fired a coach that got you to the Eastern Conference Final. You can't just bring someone off the street that's never been a head coach in the NBA before. In this situation, it's too much of a risk. So yeah, I don't think Mike Brown was the front runner to begin. He's not the sexiest name. I think he's the closest. In some aspects, he's the closest to a Thibodeau, with being a little bit more flexible. So maybe he's in that sweet spot where they can trust him, but he's a little bit more collaborative than Thibodeau was. Jason Kidd has not got the extension yet. So yeah, well, the door is not fully shut on J Kidd. But how long can we wait, fam? We need to lock in the coach right now, this week. We've got Summer League about to pop, fam, as we're in July 2 now? New York Knicks basketball, baby, in 8 days from now in Vegas on July 11 versus Detroit. Right now, we're going to have a coach lined up. We need a coach, right? We've got a roster full of ballers ready to go. They just need a sensei. They need a master. They need a splinter right now. They need a head coach. They need a Professor Charles Xavier. They need someone to guide these guys now with a plan, with a philosophy, and they're ready, man. The front office is going to make a hire, I think, in the next couple of days. Maybe 1 or 2 more second round interviews. What do y'all think? Listen, I'm cool on the J Kidd thing. I think he's very isolation heavy as well. I know he's got great relationships. So yeah, a lot of people reacting to the Gershon Yabusele deal today. Kevin O'Connor says, amazing pickup. Jeff Goodman says that's the Knicks bench sorted out now. NBA's paying attention, fam. They're paying attention to the Knicks making moves. Everyone knows that our bench was our weakness right now, and we've strengthened that in a major way. Talking about Campaign and Precious out the door. Jordan Clarkson, 6th man of the year. Most active bench scorer in the league currently. And Yabusele, one of the most versatile power forward options, front court options last season, right? On a very cheap deal. Let's take a look at these stats now from our newest Knicks and the comparisons. Russell Thomas says, I don't want Brown. Okay, I feel you. I understand. Yeah, on the Brown situation, now we're now moving into a conversation about assistants. So that's how close it's getting, Lou. I think, shout out to Mark Stein again. He's been all over it in terms of trying to cover the Knicks coaching search respectfully. Shams and all of these other accounts, man, they're just posting in clicks about the Knicks doing interviews. But Mark Stein's given us, intel about what's the plan. And the plan is, if we do bring in Mike Brown, James Borrego, who was impressive in the interviews, has had an impressive run in Charlotte. Great offensive mind, and we might bring him in as a lead assistant, man. That would take a huge load off Brown. Man, if Borrego was, here we go. Great update here for y'all. For those that are confused about Borrego hype, Borrego led the Hornets, to a 43-39 record in his last season before he got the can, and 113.6 offensive rating, which was 8th in the league. Their best season since 2015-16, and only their second winning season of the last decade. So put some respect on James Borrego name. If he's an assistant, man, we're in a good spot. Because this guy is a head coach. This guy is a deserved head coach. There's just not many jobs available right now. But if he's Mike Brown or someone's right-hand man, to have a legit head coach as the right-hand man, no disrespect to Rick Brunson or Mo Cheeks or Dice Yoshimoto and all of the loyal soldiers that Thibodeau had. But let's get serious, man. Let's get serious and have a real head coach, deserved assistant right now. We'll see how, the rest of the staff was going to get filled out. How do y'all feel about that? Vaughn Allen's in the building. Salute. You guys are on fire right now. Smash that like button. Knicks streets are buzzing. Yeah, Lou says 39 wins that year before, so I agree. He did a lot with a little. Yeah, LaMelo Ball. Their offense was a joke. Their defense was a joke. So yeah, overall stats, man. Y'all see last season we're getting 16 points a game from Jordan Clarkson off the bench. We're getting 11 points a game from Gershon Yabusele. So that's 27 extra points off the bench, man. I'm no Einstein, but we weren't getting 27 points a game from Campaign and from Precious Achua. Were we, fam? Right. 27 points a game off the bench from these two guys. One of them could start. One of them is capable of playing starting minutes. Also, y'all want the ball to move, distributing the rock. 3.7 dimes from Clarkson, 2.1 dimes from Gershon Yabusele. So that's about 6 dimes from those two combined. Steals, 0.8 each, so we're getting close to 2 steals a game out of these two guys. Field goal percentage, 500%, 50% from Yabusele, 40% from Clarkson, who's high volume, man. 16 points a game. They can both shoot free throws. We know that's a plus. Field goal percentage, solid as well. BPM, it is what it is, guys. Massive, massive upgrade. A- for me. Richard says, I really have a gut feeling Norrie would have been amazing. Yeah, there would have been some guys deserving of a shot, for real. You know, I just think it works out the way it does. You know, interview process changes everything, man. I've done in my 9 to 5, I've done hiring before, and it's a tricky process. You know, your goals got to align. You know, you got to press the candidate and say, look, what are you hoping to get out of this? You know, this is what we're going to get out of this, and hopefully the two can meet. You know, sometimes some well-credentialed people, they just don't, their philosophies don't align. So next up, guys, we're going to bring some more heat for y'all. So shout out to the chat. Buzzer Beater's asking who's still on the board. So voila, bring up some of the graphic. We'll start from the bottom row. We got Malcolm Brogdon. Rumors that the Wizards are looking for a potential sign and trade. You know, we might have to shed some salary, but Malcolm Brogdon, a little bit of a logjam. Dante Exum, I'm a big fan of because I know him well, but obviously I think his game would fit. He's a wing. He's a point guard in a wing's body. So you're kind of getting a 2-for-1. You're getting a guy that can run the point guard, and you're getting a guy that can be a 3-and-D wing. There's no other player available for that as a vet minimum. A 6'6" point guard. Y'all wanted Lonzo Ball. Well, Dante Exum's he's a Dollar Tree version of that. DeLon Wright. Let's not forget about DeLon Wright, man. He's another point guard, can guard some wings as well. So he would be a guy that would be open to bringing back. Trey Mann. Last I checked, guys, Trey Mann is still out here. Seth Curry. What do y'all think about that? Some wings now. Lonnie Walker. I've been wanting Lonnie Walker for a couple of seasons. I think, you know, I don't know what's up with him. You know, he's everything I've heard. He's a great guy, great character, great personality. Players love him, teammates love him, but he just seems to, you know, to be a journeyman every single offseason. So I don't know what's up. You know, he's just a guy that is out of tight squeeze. Okay, Trey Mann just got signed. Don John, salute. Russell, salute. That's why you guys are great. I've got to keep refreshing this thing, man. Free agency been buzzing. So yeah, Mark Stein now reporting Mike Brown is now widely regarded as the favorite to be the head coach. So that's the update on the coaches for y'all. Okay, so Trey Mann off the board. You know, he's a okay. That is fresh off the press, guys. He's going to return to the Hornets. Shout out to the Hornets. He's returning. Let me bring this up. Look, we already had another chucker in Jordan Clarkson, so I'm not going to lose too much sleep over missing out on Trey Mann. So I'll take him off the graphic. What do y'all think about Seth Curry, Lonnie Walker? I do know that Larry Nance got re-signed as well. Larry Nance got re-signed, so I'll take him off the graphic. What about this guy? 35-year-old Mook Morris, right? Had an off year, you know, chopped it up on ESPN with the crew. Had an off year, resting the body. Already spoke about was supposed to join the Knicks, but the front office changed their mind. at the 11th hour. So Mook Morris, he ain't as old as some people think. He's still a guy that could get a shot off, can create a shot in isolation. I don't know about his defense now, but he'd be a solid bench guy and a solid locker room guy. I mean, for good vibes, enforcement. We mean business, guys. We're trying to win the championship this year, so we've got a couple of young guys. We might need to balance it out and bring in another old head that can actually play a little bit as well. He's not PJ Tucker. He's not 40. Mook Morris still got a good, pretty jump shot, high release, only 35. I think he could still, be an insurance bench piece. A couple of other guys I like. Dominic Barlow. Let me know if he's been snapped up. I haven't seen nothing yet. I like Dominic Barlow. He's a 6'10" combo forward. Can play a bit of 3, can play 4 as well. 6'10". A good young upside, can rebound as well. He would be on the cheap. Familiar face, Chuma Okeke. Always brings the size. Got 6'8" frame. Good defender, but jump shot. Struggling a little bit with that. Some big men available. We've got Al Horford, fam. Also some wings. We've still got Amir Coffey. Amir Coffey, I think, is looking for more than the minimum. The last that I checked. Amir Coffey is a good name. I don't think TJ Warren, whilst he's available, I think some relationships, some fences were broken last season. So yeah, you could put a cross through TJ Warren's name. He waited around for us last season but didn't get a shot. We've got Al Horford still out there, Bismack Biyombo, Mo Wagner still out there as well. And we know the last 2 guys already got picked up. Yeah, so these are my names still out here, fam. AC, what's good? I like Deuce starting with Brunson, like Devo or Grimes did, and Hart and Clarkson off the bench, making for a super good bench moving forward. Yeah, let's talk about some lineups now. Let's talk about some versatility, and some options off the bench. Like, let me bring these graphics back up, y'all. Salute to everyone in the building. Streets are buzzing, smashing that like button. Given the fact that Clarkson and Yabusele both shoot well as well, we've got a serious, question to ask about Josh Hart. Right? Is Josh Hart in your starting lineup? I think you start Mitch. I think you take Hart out. You start Cat at the power forward. You start Mitch. And I would go that way, fam. As I brought this up earlier, this would be my starting 5 if no major changes are made. This would be my starting 5. Now you've got some backup. You got Hukpority, Naji, and Yabusele. You don't have to worry about Mitch's minutes so much, right? You also want to get, balance the defense out as well. This is what I would do. Let us know what you think. Yeah, so for those that don't know, we got Delon Wright, who's from California, fam. So I think Delon Wright might want to stay. He might want to stay on the West Coast, fam. Buzzer says, who is that last guy with the beard? Yeah, so he's that San Antonio bench big that lit us up for 40 points. Mamu Kalashvili, fam. Mamu Kalashvili. I see Bran in the chat, my brother from down under. Not a fan of Yabusele because, for those that don't know, Yabusele and Australian point guard Dante Exum got into it in the EuroLeague. Yabusele body slammed Dante Exum into the ground, man. It was a dirty play, not gonna lie, but we've had some dirty players on the team before, man. We need some goons as well. But I don't agree with what he did, but I don't know what words were spoken. People get into it, man. When you cross that white line, intensity comes into it. Mook Morris done some dirty stuff as well, smashing the basketball on that guy's head as well. Some of y'all were clamoring for DeMarcus Cousins, man, getting into it in Puerto Rico. Doing the gesture of grabbing his, family jewels in a guy's face right now. I can't lie, man. One of the reasons I want Giannis badly is because that storyline is like, it's WWE. Giannis coming to the New York Knicks and sticking it to Tyrese Halliburton and his pops, man. That would be WWE like, man. The way his pops, behaved on the sideline, man, was crazy. Getting into Giannis's face. Speaking of pops, we got more updates coming through from Mark Stein and Darren Hood as well, the chief reporter in the chat. Darren says the Stein line has learned that Rick Brunson, father of Knicks star Jalen, is expected to remain part of the Knicks coaching staff. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. What did I tell y'all as well? I told y'all that 2 weeks ago, right? I do have a few sources, as I spoke on, man. Not tooting my horn, but if I hear information, I bring it. And I told y'all about the whole Dolan, Wesley, Tibbs firing, movement and the wash-up. And I was told straight away, at the exact same time, that Rick Brunson was part of the, the support to move Thibodeau on. And Rick Brunson was going to stay. Rick Brunson is going to stay, right? He's not going nowhere right now. Don't know how much of an input he's going to have, in terms of how, senior. I do think he's probably going to shuffle down a little bit in terms of the bench. And, we're going to bring in another lead assistant, to Mike Brown or whoever it is. But, yeah, Rick Brunson's staying. Lou Boogie says that would be interesting to bring on Exum. We don't know. Maybe those guys have patched it up. Maybe they're cool now. Things do get into it. I know OG Anunoby and Dorian Finney-Smith got into it. A lot of y'all wanted Dorian Finney-Smith on the squad. Remember when OG and him, they squared up. Jordan Clarkson, man, he's squared up with half of the league right now. D Rose, former players. I do appreciate former players. I like Chauncey Billups. I think Chauncey Billups has got some a bright future ahead. I think the Knicks were interested in Chauncey Billups. I think there was some reports out there last time. We'll see what plays out, man. Look, we need more guys that are going to get into it, man. I said one of the black marks on the season was that the Golden State game where Karl Anthony Towns, I think it was the anniversary of his mother's passing, and then we had the whole Draymond podcast, slander Cat's name, and then Cat missed the game due to personal reasons because another family member sadly passed away. Then you had the Draymond thing. And you had Cat get interviewed on the sideline by Lisa Salters asking him about Draymond during the game. That was crazy. And then what happened after the game? Cat went straight to the locker room while everyone else, most of the other guys, Mikal Bridges, PJ Tucker and that, were like, hugging Draymond. And it's like, no wonder there was some disconnect in that locker room, man. You got to rock with your teammates no matter what, right? I know you might be cool with some other opponents and whatever, but there is a time and a place where you just got to rock with your teammates and just go the hell back to the locker room. When a guy is going through that kind of that kind of situation, his name was disrespected, and so that's something to look out for. There might be some friction. Might be some friction between some of these guys. I know not everyone's going to be buddies and get along, but like I said, you're professionals and you're on the same team. You got to come to your teammates, a defense. Dwayne Freddy says Cassell before Rondo. Yeah. Buzzer says Rondo was a good name before the name for coaching in the league. Yeah, I tell y'all who's probably going to be a head coach. Rondo probably, but CP3. I could see Chris Paul being a coach, trying to start and trying to get into it. Maybe he finishes without a ring. Maybe he finishes ringless. And tries to win a ring as a coach. So that is interesting, fam. I'm hyped for Summer League, man. I really am. Next thing to do is to lock in the coach, lock in a couple of the final roster pieces, and we'll see what plays out, man. We'll be live tomorrow night as well, but I don't expect day 3 of free agency to be anywhere near as busy. Maybe we get the coaching news locked in. I guess that'll be major, but in terms of some of the players, I think most of the heavy lifting has been done now. Salute to everyone in the chat. D Cools in here. Welcome in. David asked Susan a great question. How do we make up for no defense for Cat and Brunson? Yeah, so where were we? Let's get back to the possible lineups. Right. Possible lineups we can put out there. We do got to mix and match. So, yeah, if y'all don't want Hart to start, we could start Deuce McBride. I think Deuce McBride, Mikal Bridges, and OG Anunoby makes our perimeter defense a hell of a lot more strong. And I think we saw that in the playoffs against, defense plus minuses. Like JM says, Hart's defense is regressing a little bit as well. I hope it's just an anomaly, but I definitely see a regression in Josh Hart's game. He's turned 30 now, and as we all know, it's downhill after 30. Still got a lot left in the tank. I'm not saying he's washed up, but I've just noticed from the last 2 seasons to the last one, I've noticed a decline in Josh Hart. Possibly the minutes toll and the wear and tear on his body is taking a toll. And that's another reason that it's good that Thibodeau is gone. Because, yeah, he was playing Hart too much. I see you in the building too. Talk about zone. Play more zone, drop D, says Lou. Also, yeah, I agree. That's an issue too. That's a counter to that, David. We are going to be small with Deuce, but it's worked in the plus minus, so you got to tap in and give it a longer look. You could always go try Dardier, McCullough, but what it does give us is more ball handling. More safer playmaking as well. For me, Hart is a little too erratic. Throws the ball out of bounds, tries to thread the needle. He's erratic in transition as well. I want Hart to get those turnovers down. But yeah, that's one solution. Another solution is to see what Pacome Dardier's got. Positional size, 6'8". A real uptick, real upside in 3-point shot. The mechanics look sweet. If Dardier can be a serviceable 3-point shooter, and his defense is as good as advertised, he could get a shot sooner rather than later. He could be the future at the wing or at the shooting guard next to Mikal. Buzzer says, I want everyone in their natural position. So what's your starting five right now, guys? Put it out there. We'll shout it out. This is the core of our squad right now, right? We might add a couple of small pieces, but what's your starting five right now? Mitch is fully healthy, now or never, to give Mitch 30 minutes a night. We'll see what plays out with that. Big Dave says, I'm looking forward to seeing Kevin McCullough and, Kevin McCullough in the summer as well. Danny says, any legs to the LeBron rumors? Legs to the LeBron leaving LA? Absolutely. No legs to LeBron coming to New York so far. But I think it's a real possibility he leaves LA. Most definitely. I think there's legit. I mean, they're tooling around Luka now, as they should. LeBron is 40 years old, and Father Time is undefeated. But I mean, man, LeBron can be a dangerous third option, man, role player. Right. Also, look out for this. I think this is a real possibility. If they can't find a trade, I think there's a chance LeBron could get bought out. You heard it here first. There's a lot of respect. Obviously, Rich Paul will try to do what's best for his client. And if LA can't find a suitable trade, LeBron might just be like, you know what, man, get me out of here. There's been a lot of buyouts. The buyouts seem to be going up. Clarkson got bought out. Cole Anthony got bought out. Just people can't find trades. So, if LeBron gets bought out and he's free to choose wherever the hell he wants to go, that's going to be unbelievable. That's going to be unbelievable. He'll make any team that he chooses an instant, favorite or instant contender, assuming they're already a contender. So JM3 says, Cat, Yabusele, OG, Mikal, Brunson. Okay. Still got Brunson, Mikal, OG, but you've got Yabusele in place of Hart. And you've got Mitch still coming off the bench. That's dynamite offensively. That's the 5-out look. I see you. That's the 5-out look. My concern is defense, though. I think we might need to sprinkle in another defender in there. Maybe Mitch. Also, one of the reasons why it's smart to start Mitch, the hacker Mitch situation, if he starts the ball game, just like we saw in the playoffs, fam, they can't hit the hacker Mitch if it's early in the game, right? The more that Mitch comes on later in the game, chances are we're already in the bonus, and they can hit us with the hacker Mitch as well. You guys let me know. We've got to put the heat on Mitch. Send him a comment, a DM, and say, work on these free throws, guys. What's an acceptable free throw percentage that Mitchell Robinson should come back with? 65%? Is that realistic? 70%? Mitchell Robinson has to come back and be able to shoot free throws, man. It's at a better clip. Well, I love Mitch, but it's just unacceptable, man. We can't have that as a liability in the playoffs. We just can't, man. You've been a pro for what is Mitch now? 8 seasons? 7 seasons? Buzzer says 75. I would shake your hand and sign up for that right now. I would sign up for that right now. Yeah, David, Leon's not afraid to make those trades. There could be a major trade still come. The thing is, we are right up against the second apron. Isaac says 60%. I hope we could get more than 60. If you can split. J Dragon says Mitch should man up and at least try the Barry method for Pete's sake. Yeah, you've been on that. Salute to you. You've been on that for a minute now. Last I heard, Rick Barry reached out to the New York Post, I think via Stephen Bondy, and I think Rick Barry said, I'm willing to help, man. But these guys, man, they're new age. They've got pride. They've got ego as well. I don't know if we'll ever see a player do that now. The underarm. If it's effective though, I would do it. JM says 68. D Cool 68 as well. Larry Salute says 65. Simon says trade Mitch. So we're that close, guys. We're going to be in high leverage games. Every single game from here on out in the playoffs, it's going to be high leverage. And the Hacker Mitch thing, we gotta learn from that. Look, shout out to Thibodeau from some aspect where Thibodeau was trying to work around it. He was smart, trying to keep Mitch out there early. He started Mitch in game 4 and 6 against Indiana. I was critical of Thibodeau, though, in game 6 because I think after game 4 in Indiana, we got blown out. We got the doors blown off because we were, too big and slow. Indiana's, game plan was just to run us out of the gym. And so game 6, I would have adjusted again and thrown Deuce in there. Russell, salute. Yeah, check out our guys, Knicks Real Talk. Knicks Real Talk channel. Amazing channel, Divine, Sharp Hours. My brother's great Knicks content. Yeah, check them out for real. The thing is, Mitch trade value is the highest it is right now, and he's so impactful defensively. Like literally everyone around the league is hopeful of getting a Mitchell Robinson. We have him right now, and so, you got to be careful. You can't just throw that away right now. And look at the Bucks. The biggest surprise of free agency for me is the Bucks. Right now, they've got Jericho Sims locked in as well, backing up Miles Turner. What's your top 6 in the East now, guys? Put your top 6 teams in the East. I'll give you mine. I do think Indiana are going to regress, no doubt. I think the jury's still out on Cleveland. I think Ty Jerome was a huge part of their regular season, and yeah, they've kept Larry Nance. Well, that's Atlanta. Sorry, Cleveland. They've kept Sam Merrill, but they lose. The shooter Ty Jerome. I don't know who's Indiana's starting center now, man. They've still got Isaiah Jackson, I think, who was suffering from the Achilles. I think he's working his way back. But yeah, I'm not putting the Pacers in the top 4 right now. Halliburton's out. I think it's going to be New York, Cleveland, New York, 1 and 2. And then it's going to be Atlanta Magic. And then it's probably going to be Milwaukee, Boston. Milwaukee, Boston, or Indiana, Boston. Maybe, yeah, Indiana might be playing. I still think Boston's going to be around there, man. You got Derek White. You got Jason. You got Jaylen Brown still. They're not going to fall off a cliff. You got Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser as well. They do have a hole at the center position, though, losing Luke Cornett and Kristaps, maybe Al Horford as well. AC says, do y'all consider Yabu a goon type? Not fully, but yeah, I think he's kind of similar to what we need. Not like he's not Isaiah Stewart, but he's physical and he'll be ready to, he'll be ready to mix it up. He loves the contact. and he finishes above the rim as well. Great forward combination we have right now. Buzzer says Knicks, Cleveland, Orlando, Hawks, and Indiana. Interesting. I agree with the first four, but I do think Indiana might not be as good as Milwaukee or Boston. Margaret says Knicks, Cavs, Detroit, Hawks, Orlando, Pacers. So you've gone Detroit. Throw Detroit in there. Orlando got more shooting as well, but y'all have the Boston Celtics falling off right now. I think there's a chance Jason Tatum could return late in the season, or early in the playoffs. He might play. Less minutes. I think there's a chance Jason Tatum is gonna be in come playoffs. He had the surgery super early on the same night of the injury because he was in New York City. Johnny says Mitch's game will improve with Clarkson. Ridiculous that Mitch doesn't get more lobs. Yeah, turn it up, Johnny. Gotham lob is going to return, I think. We had a lot more RJ Barrett to Mitch. RJ Barrett would be able to find Mitch on those oops. But yeah, Brunson has to step it up. But I do think Clarkson will be looking to get the ball moving as well. Isaac says Knicks ATL. Memphis was a typo. Okay, Knicks Atlanta, Cleveland, Pacers, Orlando. Magic in place of. I know you've got Orlando after Indiana. Yeah, I get it. Definitely. Yeah, hopefully injuries go well. I think Casey Smith deserves a lot of credit coming over from Dallas to lead the health science and earning that award as well. The best medical team, training staff in the NBA now. How much strides have the Knicks made as an organization in terms of fixing the injuries and all of that? Juan says Yabusele is a low-key under the radar, good signing. Reminds me of when Knicks got Randall, Portis, and Morris that year. Yeah, that year was crazy. Maybe one more power forward than what was necessary with Taj Gibson. But Yabusele, man, he's 28, can stroke it, could really put the ball on the floor and make things happen as well. It's got to take a lot of pressure off of guys. Sun says that with no need to trade Mitch, and for what? Clarkson should play over Hart. Yabusele should eat some of Josh's minutes. Yep, I could see that. I'll tell you one guy minutes who need to go down, and I think one guy whose minutes are praying they go down is Mikal Bridges. Yeah, I think I like Mikal Bridges, the guy. He's a good character, softly spoken guy. But I do think Mikal Bridges had a connection or a conflict chemistry issue with Tom Thibodeau. The newest Nick coming in, he wasn't quite familiar with the way Thibodeau ran things, and I think Mikal was overplayed. He was overplayed, fam. Yeah, and a lot of criticism on Mikal Bridges was very fair, but some of it you just never know. When he was, fading from the basket and not finishing strong and that, we don't know. He might have been dealing with something that he wasn't speaking about. A lot of these players have injuries late in the season, but they're not going to speak on it. So if he's more fresh, we could see a better version of him. Everyone's minutes should go down in theory now. We've got two serious pieces coming in that could play 20 to 25 minutes a night in the rotation. Precious was kind of like, he was borderline rotation, Cam Payne wasn't really a rotation player either. It was either 10 minutes or 8 minutes, couple shots, and then quick hook. Yabusele and Jordan Clarkson are going to be staples of the rotation. mainstays of the rotation. As I said to you, I bring the heat with the lineup data. Philadelphia on a losing season, Yabusele was in the top 5 most used 4-man lineups. In games played, and some of it with a lot of success. With Paul George, Kelly Oubre, Tyrese Maxey, played 27 games and 12 minutes a game, was a plus 1.5. So you put Yabusele with Kelly Oubre, Paul George, some decent wing size and length. You can hide his weaknesses, and this is on a bad team. Next up, man, Eric Gordon in the second lineup. He's a defensive liability. Kelly Oubre, Tyrese Maxey. That was almost a neutral, plus minus, in 9 minutes per game, with 23 games played. So, it is a situation where I think we can mix and match a lot. Same with JC. I'll bring up the JC data too. This was from the 23-24 season when he was healthy, playing with Markkanen, John Collins, Keontae George as well. So he played a lot with the starters as well. So Clarkson is going to be the sixth starter, no doubt. Him and Deuce McBride. We've got those options. Susan says Tatum's going to be out for the full season, a long road back. It is, yeah. Maybe I do underrate, the recovery time and all of that, man. JM says, yeah, Mikal playing on tired legs. Kobe 24 in the house. Say we should pick up Bol. Low risk, high reward. Bol. What about Chris Boucher as well? I see the vision with some length. We're kind of crowded on the cap sheet now, though. We'll see how it plays out. Look, like I said, Mikal Bridges, a lot of criticism is justified. But all I'm trying to say is that, there's some things that we don't always know about. He was very vocal, critical of the minutes with Thibodeau. Now the onus is back on him. Let's see how he, bounces back. But had some amazing playoff moments. AC says no bowl, log jam. Buzzer says, wow, forgot about Chris Boucher. Yeah, a lot of these guys under the radar around the league, man. Imagine having Chris Boucher with Mitch. That's a cheat code. That's a 2K creator character cheat codes, fam. With Bol, Chris Boucher and Mitch. Also, like I said for fam, let me shout this guy out again, man. I can't wait to continue diving into the film. But Knicks draft pick, Muhammad Diawara. Film session, man. 3 hours worth of film, man. Of meaningful, edited film from Muhammad Diawara. This guy, man, he jumps off the page in some of these plays, man. Let me describe what I see. I don't want to get any copyright, so I'm not going to roll the tape. But y'all can check it out, man. I put the link in the chat earlier as well. Put it back in there as well now. But yeah, Hardwood Hoops NBA Draft Green Room. I've never seen this from any other channel, man. 3 hours of Muhammad Diawara film. And all of it is, all of the plays, threes, defense, steals, transition. This guy is he's a cross between Pascal Siakam and a Bol. He's got a 7'4" wingspan, But what I take away from what I've seen so far, 26 minutes I've watched, is that his handle, his ability to actually create the ball, create shots and handle at the top of the key is better than I expected. It's better. A lot of the small little videos that went viral when he was drafted, they were not even a snippet of what his actual game is about. Um, his finishing and transition's crazy too. Reminds me a little bit of Duop Reith. For those that have seen Duop Reith with the Portland Trailblazers. But what I take away from it is that, defensively, his wingspan it's a joke. He's such a deterrent. Yep. Vaughn says, especially in closeout situations, CT. Yeah, most definitely. Most def. Discipline too. I talked about it during the season. Like, some of our guys closed out really well, but some of the guys were blow-bys, with the bad closeout as well. Optimus 2G, question, is Clarkson more of a point guard or a shooting guard? I think he's more of a shooting guard, but he's a hybrid. He's a hybrid for me. And so, look at the assist numbers. Let me just double check that again. Yeah, 3.7 assists. The data suggests that he finds the corner shooters as well. He doesn't have the tunnel vision, so he's not going to be campaign. That's what's great. He's not going to be Alonzo Trier. Yes, he's he loves to get the shots up, and he's high volume, but he also does spot the open man, and he is solid at playmaking. 3.7 assists per 2 turnovers. So his assist to turnover ratio is close to four dimes for every 2 turnovers, which is decent for a guy who's not really a point guard. So yeah, huge upgrade over campaign. So yeah, let's talk about Tyler Kolek, because if Deuce isn't a true point guard, and if Jordan Clarkson is not a real point guard either, is there still an opportunity for Tyler Kolek? Now with these 3 guards, you see, with Brunson, Deuce, and Clarkson, because I don't think there's any need to bring in another ball handler. Now maybe Dante Exum makes a lot of sense because he could play off ball, he could play shooting guard, and he can guard threes as well. But he could also be a backup point guard. But you got Yabusele here; those 2 fought it out. So we have that storyline. Malcolm Brogdon can play, at the 2 as well. I'd be okay with Malcolm Brogdon, but I think Tyler Kolek, it's going to be very interesting summer league. I think it's kind of now or never, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks pull a trade just to consolidate a little bit, just to consolidate a little bit. Maybe you swap Tyler Kolek with another young rookie on a rookie contract, a team that needs a point guard. But it would be sad without giving him a shot, You invested in Tyler Kolek enough to give him the biggest second-round contract that the Knicks have given, the highest money out of any second-round draft pick, guaranteed. So we treated Tyler Kolek like he was a first-rounder. And to just slam the door shut without giving him a proper chance, I think would be disappointing. But, good thing we don't have to wait too long now. We've got Summer League coming down right now. D. Grant says Tyler should run the point. Clarkson play off ball. Yeah, some defensive issues though. But yeah, we do need a true playmaker. I think there is still a world where Kolek can get things popping, especially with Cat, Yabusele, OG. I definitely want us to focus on OG a lot more. He showed us that he can be an offensive focal point. And we look at this guy, man. We're getting closer to realizing that Mike Brown, maybe James Borrego, is going to bring some creative offensive schemes, and we're tapping in to a full offensive identity right now, guys. That's why we're bringing in all these lengthy specialists defensively, with Diawara, James Nagy. We're just bringing in guys with wingspan and size to help cover up some of the other guys. Jimmy says, nah, Kolek's our only true pass first point guard. Keep him. We got him under contract, which is good. We just have to get value out of him now. Durf says, keep Kolek. Jimmy says, Tibbs just kept Kolek in the doghouse. Yeah, I do feel like that was foolish. But he's got to show us more defensively. You can't be a target for the other team's defense. They're going to continue to eat. They're already going to target Brunson and Cat. I think that's why Deuce's minutes need to go up, man. I understand Deuce is undersized, but he's tenacious on the perimeter. He's a pit bull. And I think, out of any guy that deserves to have a beef with Tom Thibodeau, it's not Tyler Kolek at the top. It's Deuce McBride. I think the way that Thibodeau's philosophy and the way he treated Deuce McBride, I think Deuce deserves to have the biggest beef, understandably, with Tom Thibodeau, right? Deuce McBride, ability-wise and numbers and data-wise, is an NBA starter. Deserves a chance. Emmanuel Quickley said, "I'm a starter and I'm gonna go somewhere and get paid." And I think Deuce McBride is a more well-rounded player than Emmanuel Quickley. Think about how Deuce McBride's feeling right now. Right. He wasn't even able to close games out in the playoffs. He wasn't able to get a shot next to Brunson. So we'll see how that plays out. Goodness gracious, man. Let me bring in some of these updates, man. I've got to vet this just to see that it's not send tell. We've got some Lakers updates as well, man. Yeah, Rick Brunson will stay on the staff, as I already spoke about, y'all. I bring you the buzz when it comes through. And obviously Rick Brunson, I was told, when I was told about the workings of the Tibbs firing, that Rick was going to stay. And that's come through already. So, yeah, coming out of DetroitNews.com, Robert Snell, who is a federal courts reporter out of Detroit News. Okay. So I've tried to vet this federal court reporter, Robert Snell, Detroit News. Scoop saying ex-Pistons player Malik Beasley's money problems ran so deep, he pledged his current and future NBA contracts as collateral in one deal and stiffed his dentist. Man. Unbelievable, man. What is going on, man? What is going on here? What do y'all think? Look, man, hopefully get his life back on track, man. Anyone can encounter issues, money problems, especially when you're in that positions, but holy moly right now. So on the Lakers trade situation, now things are heating up, right? I do think they're going to build around Luka. Brian Windhorst says, I'm told LeBron's just chilling, watching the offseason. Do I think he's going to get traded? No, I do not. But if he wanted to get traded, there are teams who would step up and make offers. And the Lakers are trying to make moves for a center right now. A source familiar with their thinking. So they're trying to make a move for a center right now. They're going to miss out on Horford. Maybe they get DeAndre Ayton. What do y'all think? Man, what a crazy day too. What I assume, Buzzer, is dentists. Obviously, they're great investors. You know, dentists have a lot of side investments. You know, the dentists are very, very wealthy. Some of the wealthiest people in the world. I do know, sort of working in the film industry previously. I do know a lot of dentists invest in they do invest in film grants. You know, they do pledge their, you know, their capital. They can maybe help you get out of some debts as well. Yeah, dentists do invest in a lot of films and all of that, man. Athletes. But yeah, holy moly. Yeah, he'll owe a lot of people right now, man. That's the pitfalls of gambling, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I've had my fair share of some gambling in the past. You know, not to an addiction level or not to anything crazy, but you know, I've lost a little bit of money. I can understand that. You know, it's there. It's, you know, on that topic, I have been approached about some betting and gambling companies to sponsor the, you know, the show, sponsor the platform, but I decided against that. Decided to stick clear of that just for now. But yeah, look, I get it, man. Like, this is so accessible, especially around the league for these players, man. They find themselves in vulnerable positions where they can directly impact the outcome. Yeah, that, you know, they can directly impact the outcomes. You know, miss the shot, they could throw the ball out of bounds. I mean, in NFL or in soccer or whatever, it's hard because, you know, you can't just score a goal or you can't just give up a goal unless you're a goalkeeper. You know, and hurt the entire team. In the basketball, it's easier as well. Yeah, a lot of sources coming out, man. A lot of the people that he owes money to probably speaking. Um, but yeah, Buzzer, in the film stuff, I did a bit of the background, you know, just some background stuff. Nothing in the front, but just more in the background. When I was doing some film stuff, a little bit of writing, producing, writing and producing as well. Nothing too major. So yeah, Duncan Robinson, Detroit. They've tried to rescue their situation. Look, I hope they don't get Malik Monk. You guys just let me know. I don't think Malik Monk has gone anywhere yet. But yeah, Detroit, hopefully they don't land Malik Monk. I don't think they can now that they've landed Duncan Robinson, but they've lost Tim Hardaway. They've lost Dennis Schroeder. I mean, hell, they might. What if they were to sign Cam Payne? That could be one team that signs Cam Payne, fam. He lit them up. You know, he lit them up a little bit in that game one. Wouldn't that be funny, man, if they tried to replace Schroeder with Cam Payne? Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Appreciate you. Yeah, learn a lot, you know. If you have the opportunity, you know, try to work in a few different industries and you know, you learn a little bit more about, you know, random stuff. Some of it useful, some of it not so useful. But yeah, I learned working in film. I learned how busy dentists get, man. Y'all think they're just doing filling cavities and root canals. Dentists get busy, especially in their downtime with you know, spreading their money about. D. Grant says teams have to learn their lesson. They not taken out these outdated stars like Westbrook, LBJ, Al Horford. They're going after young free agents now. Yeah, the second apron. That's just been a game changer right now. NBA, to their credit, has succeeded in their aim, which is to make things difficult for teams to create more parity around the league. So you have to be smarter with your signings. You have to be smart with who you draft, what contracts they can be on, and understand when it's time to move on from a guy and elevate the next guy. Like for us, perfect example for the Knicks, we could have understood what DeLon Wright and Cam Payne and Precious gave to us this season. We could have brought them back. But we also had to decide, okay, if we bring DeLon Wright, Cam Payne, and Precious back, that means another year of no Tyler Kolek, another year of no Dardier, no McCullough, maybe another year of no Ariel Hukporti. So another year their value goes down on the trade market. Another year they're eating salary up and you're not getting anything out of them. So as a front office, you got to decide, like, okay, am I ready to shuffle the deck? We're a dealer at Vegas right now, and we're shuffling the deck. Cam Payne out, Clarkson in, DeLon Wright out, Tyler Kolek steps in. Out one guy, in the other guy. Yeah, good luck to him. Definitely. I heard rumblings that Cam Payne, has got a market. I heard that Cam Payne could end up in Indiana. He could end up in Detroit. Philadelphia even could go back for him. Minnesota needs some more point guards as well. Yeah, a lot of things are connected, fam, with the Duncan Robinson, Malik Beasley situation. Chris Persianen reporting from Clutch Points saying, I had heard the expectation was for the Knicks assistant Rick to remain on the coaching staff regardless of who was hired as the head coach. There was no written guarantee, but some familiar with the situation saw it as highly unlikely that Brunson would not be on the staff. So, yep, that's not news to me, as I already spoke about on one of our shows recently. So, the winners out of free agency, fam, I think Atlanta, I think the Denver Nuggets, I think the Orlando Magic, the New York Knicks are in there as well. Indiana are a loser, Detroit are a loser. I don't know what the Brooklyn Nets are doing, but they do get that major asset. I think Milwaukee Bucks are a loser as well, although they kind of rescued their situation a little bit, getting getting a Miles Turner. But what is that going to do if Giannis eventually leaves? But that is an upgrade too. Yep, definitely with that situation. Buzzer says CT. Wow, I know. Dove Simmons wrote about film production, and he strongly emphasized dentists for financing. Wow. Wow, salute, Buzzer. Where did you get that info? Yeah, they do speak on it a lot with the film investment. A lot of films are invested in by a large group of people. Same as kind of basketball teams, Some of these teams you have, whole culmination of owners and that. But yeah, we've got the cap sheet, so let's wrap up on this one. And Yossi Goslin confirming that the Knicks can squeeze another veterans minimum in, and I would make it Landry Shamet. What do y'all think? And the 14th spot, we could fit in a Diawara, a James Nagy, or a Kevin McCullough as well. He hasn't put Kevin McCullough there yet because he's forgotten that he was a second round pick as well. But whoever was drafted in the second round, we can add them as the 14th and possibly final spot. We haven't signed Shamet yet, Margaret. We have not signed Shamet yet. He could be the guy that takes that final vet minimum spot. But yeah, outside of that, looks like without a trade, Colex here, Huck Porty's got his deal re-upped. Diawara or Nagy, I would probably go Nagy. I think Diawara could do with 1 year on the two-way at least. That's just how I feel. I think James Nagy, could be more needed as a big. Mitch's health concerns, Cat's foul trouble. Huck Porty's still coming off a meniscus as well. Yabusele is a little undersized. So, gee, where are we at with that? Let me get this back up, fam. The two ways. Here we go. The two ways. We do got to fill these two ways. So I think Dink Pate will get it. I think Diawara will get one. And if James Nagy was to fill one of the final veteran spots, maybe we could keep Beauchamp or Anton Watson on one of those two ways. We'll find out. Ecom Joe says, if it's not Shamet, who would you like? I would go try to see if we could get Seth Curry. There's a sharpshooter. See if I could get Dante Exum. Maybe Mook Morris. Maybe you could try to go Lonnie Walker. Lonnie Walker is probably top of my list right now, fam. Going to bring up the free agent graphics. Got Brogdon, Dante Exum, DeLon Wright, Seth Curry. Trey Mann got his bag. Chuma Okeke. I think we've got enough wings at the moment. Dominic Barlow could play some power forward a little bit. Mook Morris. Lonnie Walker can guard 1 through 3. Sometimes 1 through 4. I think he's got positional versatility. I'm a big fan of Lonnie Walker. He could be a 15 points per game scorer. Buzzer says at this point, either DeLon or Shamet. We are more familiar with Shamet. Yep, I like that. Landry, he defended at a high level. Chris Gotti says bring back Shamet. AC says get Shamet in the fold. The vibe is right. Jimmy likes Lonnie Walker and Chris Boucher as well. D. Grant likes Aaron Wiggins of OKC. Is Wiggins available? I didn't see the update. Dorkosaurus Rex likes Amir Coffee. Yeah, the money might dry up for Amir. I do know he's hoping for the exception level and trying to get $5 million, but he might have to end up taking a minimum. Exum, yeah, Lonnie Walker can defend. Those guys can play two sides of the ball with a little bit of size, but my opinion might change after Summer League, but I feel like Kevin McCullough and Pacome Dardier are those wings that are ready to step in and play some minutes. So, I don't know if, bringing in a guy like Okeke or Lonnie Walker or Dante Exum is just going to stand in the way of those guys. They might be ready. They might be ready to play real minutes. And in McCullough's case, I think he is. I've been watching film the last couple of days on McCullough, and especially the Kansas footage, and just breaking down some scouting reports. He comes in as an elite on-ball defender, out of the college program. Looked great in the G League towards the end of the season when the injuries were past him. Buzzer, in terms of Lonnie Walker, I don't think it's the character. I've heard Lonnie Walker's a good character and a good teammate. Maybe it's something to do with his demands. I think his agent is constantly searching for more than the minimum, and so that he's always ending up falling back somewhere on the minimum. Sometimes it's a bit of push and pull. You gotta choose a destination that fits you the best and try to use that to get a payday. I think Lonnie Walker just seems to go anywhere right now that'll give him the minimum. Exum has exited the building. Okay, is that a brand new update? Let me see if this is popping right now. Oh my goodness, you can't make this up, ladies and gentlemen. Regards to Jaren Jackson, man, unbelievable. The guy just signed a max, man, and got injured right now, man. What's he doing? Let's bring this up now. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Memphis Grizzlies have just announced Jaren Jackson, who agreed to a max yesterday, has undergone a procedure to repair a turf toe injury he suffered in a live basketball run off-site. Unbelievable, man. So Jaren Jackson, man, just got the bag and has had to have a procedure. No recovery timeline established yet. Interesting. I don't know, turf toe doesn't seem to be anything too major, I guess, but nevertheless, you don't want to be getting surgery right after the max deal. Coming through with the buzz, Yuri Ark, salute. Yuri Ark says Rick will be staying on the coaching staff along with a few other of Tibbs' people. Don't know exactly what this means. I've seen the reports about Rick, and I spoke on that a couple of weeks ago, but I don't know who these other Tibbs people are. I'll be surprised. I don't know if any of the Tibbs people are going to stay. I don't think Dice will stay. Maybe Mo Cheeks. I don't know, Andy Greer, maybe Darren Ehrman. I don't think they're going to stay. I haven't seen a report yet about any of Tibbs' guys staying, fam. But appreciate the update. Appreciate the Super Chat contribution. Legend in the house. Buzzer says turf toe is serious. Remember Deion Sanders had turf toe. D Grant says Triple J got the bag, then got bagged. Yeah, these live runs, it's dangerous. It certainly is dangerous, but especially in not the team facility. Jakob Pertl getting overpaid as well. I mean, the Bucks, we haven't really discussed the Dame situation. Waived, stretched. We haven't seen that in a while, man. The guy had like $100 million still owed. They are that desperate to get out of him that he's stretched and waived, man. Crazy. Yeah, Buzzer. So the talk about Dante is really not much talk because he's on a really friendly deal, great production. And Minnesota, unfortunately for us, really value Dante. So good luck trying to get him out of Minnesota. I think their star player, Ant-Man, really likes Dante. But his salary is very, very trade-friendly at $14 million. I mean, in this current landscape, I think Dante DiVincenzo, if he was a free agent with the cap going up, he would probably be a 15, 16, maybe an 18 million guy, but he signed the 4-year, 14 million. So, he's going to be waiting for that deal to come up. He'll be a free agent after, not this season, the following season, he'll be a free agent. So he will be able to get one more payday. before he hits late 30s, mid 30s, fam. So I think we addressed the Clarkson, the Dante situation in terms of production. I think we addressed that with Jordan Clarkson, fam. As y'all see on the graphics that I had earlier, bring these up again. With the shooting, I think Jordan Clarkson, maybe he doesn't shoot as efficient as Dante did, but he can definitely shoot from all around. Corners, excellent. 39% from straight on, 33% from the left corner, left elbow as well. 47% from the corner. Too. Basically 99.99 points per field goal attempt. It's basically shooting 50%. Points per three field goal, 1.09. So yeah, he can stroke it. And look, I like Dante, but look at the math. You're going to pay Dante 14 million, or you're paying Jordan Clarkson 2 million, 3 million. Vets minimum. That's 3D chess, man. That's 3D chess. Clarkson, a little bit of a downgrade to Dante, I think, but it's not like massive difference. One guy you're paying the minimum, one guy was earning 14 mil. And basically what we did is we allowed that rest of that money to go to Gershon Yabusele, right? A guy that can play 25 minutes a night and also fill it up. Where do y'all think Dame's going to go, man? We're hearing some noise now that he could be headed back home to Oakland. Fam, Damian Lillard back to Oakland, where he's from. Play with some Steph. I could see that. Obviously, he's coming off the Achilles as well. So that's going to be very interesting to see what plays out. David says, having a good offseason so far, CT. We already have a strong 9-man rotation. Yeah, I think we can go 10 now comfortably. Assuming Shamet's back, or Kolek or Dardier, someone steps up, Huck Porty, we could easily go 10 deep. Now, a couple of spots to fill. And Summer League, man, around the corner. Let us know in the comment section about your feelings towards the coach, the off-season so far. I think it's an A-, given the resources that we had. And it's a situation where, we're making the best out of what we have. And I think the front office has made some moves that I'm happy with. Now, let's see what happens with the coach, as widely regarded as the front runner, Mike Brown. Maybe some more interviews to play out. Kenya says plus Clarkson average more than our entire bench. 100% shout out. He knows his role. He'll stick to that role and he'll succeed at that role. Now we just got to figure out these lineups. The best lineups that we can play. There's going to be some minutes to go around. Training camp's going to be hot because Kolek will be trying to earn some minutes. Huck Porty says, hey, Precious ain't here no more. Sims ain't here no more. Don't forget about me. Yabusele is here. I want to get paid. I want to play. Huck Porty just got the $1.9 million deal. Also, Dardier want to prove that he can play, and he's the best Frenchman out of all these French prospects coming through right now. Welcoming in his countrymen, Yabusele and Diawara. Right, where we at with the French connection? Here we go, bringing it up. French connection now. These guys. Got to chop up that Diawara film. I put the link in the chat. go support that channel if you want to watch some Diawara film, 3 hours worth. I think he can really be our Siakam if we can develop him. You know, he's just extremely athletic and great length. And Summer League's going to be fun, guys. We'll be on live again tomorrow, same time. Chop up the latest day 3. We'll wrap up with Optimus 2G. Who would we rather sign if we had to choose between DeLon Wright or Landry? I would go Landry because he can play. He can guard the 2. He could guard the 3. Whereas I think DeLon Wright is a little bit redundant now with Jordan Clarkson here, and I need to see Tyler Kolek, you know, get a chance. You know, so with that talk right now, the Knicks are in a great position. You got turmoil in Milwaukee. Is Giannis going to ask out? We just have to fill the coaching situation now, and we can get it going and make a big run at this championship for this season, guys. Salute to everyone in the chat for the buzz tonight. Comments, questions appreciated. Smash that like button. Appreciate the super chats as well coming through. Shout out to Bob, Yuri Ark, and everyone out here keeping it buzzing, guys. Bless up, and have a great night. And we'll see you again tomorrow. Peace.